Thank you very much. Let me start by just addressing some of the comments made by Mr. March. He started by saying, perhaps I'm just some college student with no sense of the consequences of my words or what I'm saying. Yes, that's true. That's very true. He also said that marriage destroys human freedom. You do know this is going to be on YouTube, right? So good luck with that later on. So yeah. And then he also said, political ramifications. It's freeing in a political sense. And I'm sure that President Clinton, John Edwards, and Newt Gingrich all recognized the political freedom that came with their expression of free love. And when Bill Clinton said to Hillary Clinton after the Monica Lewinsky scandal, free love, political freedom, that goes the opposite direction. And he says that many people at Yale believe that everyone should be sleeping around. But unfortunately, all the women at Yale seem to think otherwise. And then he said something about sponges, which I wasn't really clear exactly how that caught on. And other than I know that they're not free. The difference between paying for sex and not paying for sex is that usually paying for sex costs a lot less. As we've described before and throughout, there are numerous costs that go through with respect to free love. Now, the philosophical point over there seemed to say that free love should be free. But that's not the proposition before this House today. The proposition is this House believes free love is neither. We're not asking in some theoretical utopia whether or not everything would be happy if we all just engaged in free love and loved each other. The question is, in the world today, is free love free? And clearly, it is not. We have put forth the financial cost, the cost of dinner, roses, imitation jewelry, contraception, children, medical tests. Financial costs are outstanding. We'll talk a little bit about the emotional costs. When people engage in the act of free love, it is most common after that time that maybe one person wants to see the other person again, and one person does not want to see the other person again quite as much. Now you have a rejection cost on behalf of one of the persons. Then you have the cost of having to do the rejecting on behalf of the other person. This sometimes leads to a stalking cost, which oftentimes leads to a restraining order cost and accompanying attorney fees, jail costs. And if you don't reject the person, then you have the having to see someone you don't want to because you're too nice to reject them cost, which also results in additional problems as well. So you have all of these costs moving forward. And then we talk a little bit about reputation costs. And the first speaker for Yale said, well, there really shouldn't be a reputational cost moving forward that way. It would be nice if we can get past that fact. But that's not the real world. Whether right or wrong, society imposes a cost, a reputational cost, on people in the world today. And there's a double standard that applies to men and women with respect to free love. As they say, sometimes...
On behalf of Yale women, does that double standard come more from the norms associated with sort of marriage and these state-sponsored structures as they've historically existed, or does that double standard come more from ideals associated with free love and being forced to sort of make specific evaluations of desire?
I don't know. But I do know the double standard exists. And I do know the reputational costs exist. Just as when they say when a man talks dirty to a woman, it's sexual harassment. And when a woman talks dirty to a man, it's $3.95 a minute. Men who engage in free love are considered by women to be players and by men to be extremely lucky. And women who engage in free love are considered by both sexes to be, in a sense, overly promiscuous and are looked down upon. Now, we're not agreeing that it should be this way, and whether it's right or wrong, but the fact remains that those costs do, in fact, exist. And we're not speaking against sex on this side of the aisle. We're not saying it's bad, and we're not saying it's not worth the cost. In many cases, it very much is worth the cost. It depends on who the person involved is. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But you have to be acknowledging that, in fact, those costs do, in fact, exist. The first speaker for Yale also came out and said, if we have free love, will have better relationships and better people. So you have to ask yourself this as well, especially so many couples who are out here together. If one of you were to turn to the other and say, you know, I think we would have a better relationship and we would be better people if we were both just allowed to engage in free love as much as we want going forward, what would your significant other's reaction to that be? Go ahead, try it right now. Go ahead. Yeah, the fact that the absence of the trying kind of defines the point. In addition to that, free love, in addition to being not free, free love simply isn't true love. It's not Romeo, it's Romeo and Juliet. It's not Romeo and Juliet and Jane and Judy moving down the line. The idea and concept of true love is antithetical to free love. Because when you have true love, you really don't want to go and love and be with another. Once you have love, you have concern for another. You have worry, you have wanting, and it's that sense of love, once you have it, the free love doesn't come into the equation at all. So in addition to all the cost that we've shown you today, that free love is not free, we also would stand for the proposition that free love simply isn't love. Thank you.